What's up, guys? Welcome back to DIY Dad. Today we're going to be changing out the brakes on my 2017 Nissan Rogue. Check it out. Brakes. Brakes are obviously important. I don't think we need to get into why they're important. Of course, we still do need to put, do not drink labels on bleach. But I'm hoping you're not one of those people and you understand that brakes are extremely important on your car. They're also, surprisingly, one of the easiest things to do yourself. You can easily save at least a few $100 if you do your own brakes. You only need a few simple tools to get this done.
A 3/8 socket set, brake cleaner, wire brush, needle nose pliers, an N95 mask, a C-clamp, a hammer, some anti-seize, a torque wrench if you got one, and gloves wouldn't hurt.
By the way, just in case you're not aware, these brakes are rotor and pad brakes. So if you happen to have drum brakes, that is completely different and you need to not watch this video because it's not going to help you at all. Other than that, I'm done talking. Let's get into it.
First thing to do is take off the wheel. I used a 13/16 socket for this. Your car might be different. This is the caliper, and this holds the brake assembly, and this is the rotor. To take off the caliper, we need to remove these two bolts. If you've got man hands, great. This will be really easy for you. I do not, so that's why I have a hammer on my list. Once both bolts are out, the caliper will slide right off the rotor. Do not let the caliper dangle by this brake line. Your brake pads will be inside the caliper. They just pop right out. There's a nice flat spot right behind the rotor to set my caliper. If you're having trouble getting your rotor off, tap it with a hammer a few times. It should loosen right up. If your parking brakes are underneath your rotor, now's a good time to check them. Make sure they still got some tread left on them. If your new brake pads came with the anti-rattle hardware, you can go ahead and take the old ones out. If not, you can just leave those in. Mine did, so I'm going to replace them. Before installing your new pads, you need to push this piston in. And when you do that, your brake fluid level is going to rise. So what you want to do is pop your hood and check your brake fluid level frequently as you push that piston in to be sure it doesn't overflow. If you can't push this piston in manually with your hands, this is where the C-clamp comes into play. So what you'll do is you'll take your C-clamp and you'll put it on your piston, and the other side will go on the back side of that caliper. Make sure you're not pinching that brake line when you do this. And you'll just squeeze it and check your level. Squeeze it, check your level until you get that piston pushed all the way in. If you haven't done so already, put your dust mask on and we're going to take a wire brush and clean your hub up. This is going to make it so your new rotor sits flush on that hub. You're also going to want to clean up the area that you took that anti-rattle hardware off. I like to check and make sure the caliper's working as it should, so I'll kind of push and pull this thing along the slide pins, make sure everything's evenly sliding. Now that everything's cleaned up, we're going to take some of that anti-seize and we're going to put some right where the hardware goes, that anti-rattle hardware, and we're also going to put some on the slide pistons. A little bit goes a long way with this stuff, so you don't need too much, just enough to put, a generous coating. Go ahead and grab your brakes and your hardware, and you're good to install these now. The clips only go in one way, so it's not too hard. When you put these pads in, make sure you pay attention to which pads you're putting in, because on these Nissan Rogues, there is a front pad and a back pad, and you want to make sure they're going the right way. So in this case, the one with that little metal, whatever that is in the back, that's going to go towards the back, like in this picture, and the other one will go in the front. Next, we're going to take our anti-seize and put it all over the front of this hub so that rotor doesn't get stuck again. Here's our new rotor. Now, if your hub looks like a star like mine does, it does not matter where this hole falls. New rotors come from the factory with oil on them to protect them. You want to get that off, so all you want to do is spray some brake clean on them and let them air dry. If you leave that oil on there, it will contaminate your brake pads and it'll affect your braking. After you reinstall your caliper, go ahead and put your wheel back on, and if you have your torque wrench, torque these down to 80 or 90 foot-pounds.
Something I forgot to mention in that video was after you get done putting your rotors on and putting your brake pads on, with your parking brake off, and you know it's not in park obviously, spin your rotors manually to make sure that it's not rubbing and it's turning smoothly. And then vice versa, also put your e-brake on and do the same thing and make sure it doesn't move. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. See you in the next one, and until then, just do it yourself.